Hello, unlimited friends. It's Zehra back again with answers to your questions. The question today is about light workers, and the question was contributed by Ruchi. Thank you, Ruchi, for your question. Today, in my response, I am going to share with you my interpretation of what is being talked about as light workers and their mission on planet Earth based on my perspective gained from the teachings of Abraham. Before I get into it, I want to remind you to please subscribe and click on the notification bell so that I can invite you back to my videos. Secondly, I want you to know that this channel is all about answering your questions. And so if you have a question about law of attraction, please comment below with your question or send me an email through my website, zmahoon.com, and I will be sure to respond. All right, let's get into it. Who are light workers? What does it mean to be light workers? At the simplest level, a light worker is a person who spreads light, a soul whose purpose on planet Earth is to spread light. Now, if you have previously listened to or watched my video about the yin-yang symbol, then you would remember from that symbol that we have a choice to spread light in the world. We can choose to focus on the light or choose to focus on the darkness. Whichever aspect of the yin-yang we focus on is what we expand in our lives, and we have influence over others as well. All right, so let me share with you the characteristics that are characteristics of light workers. First of all, they are healers. They want to heal. It is their desire to heal. Secondly, they are energy workers. They know and they understand and they are extremely sensitive to energy and changes in energy. They can pick up your energy, my energy, energy from animals, from plants, things like that. They are teachers and problem solvers and healers. All right, here are the 12 signs that will tell you whether or not you are a light worker. Let's get into it. Number one, and what I've already briefly referred to, is your ability to be sensitive to energy. So if you are sensitive to energy, if you pick up on energy, let's say you're in a crowded place and there are lots of people around there, and just by focusing on a person, you can feel whether they are happy or not happy, or if something is troubling them. That is a sign that you are a light worker. And from where I stand and my understanding of the teachings of Abraham, we all have that ability. We all have the ability because we all come equipped with antennas to pick up each other's energy. And co-creation, as Abraham talks about, is all about that. So we are all sensitive to energy. In fact, Abraham teaches all of us to be sensitive to energy, because if we are not sensitive to energy, then we cannot possibly understand where we are on the emotional scale. Understanding where you are on the emotional scale means understanding energy, your own energy. And by extension, you can also understand the energy of other people. Number two, light workers are extremely intuitive. They are able to feel other people's thoughts and emotions. And they know things even without being told. So they can literally, it feels as if they're reading your mind. If a light worker was sitting in front of you, you would think that they are reading your mind. Abraham teaches us that intuition is alignment. When you are aligned, you have access. You can see into the vortex. You can feel your way into the vortex, not only for yourself, but also for other people. Intuition is a result of guidance. Your guidance is what gives you intuition. And everyone has access to guidance. Everyone has access to intuition from a place high on the emotional scale. Those people who are low on the emotional scale, so if they are low, meaning lower than a point of attraction, that is worry. So I use my stick, my pen, to describe the emotional scale as being divided into two halves, the negative half and the positive half. And I use this point as the point of worry. So worry separates negative and positive. So anyone who is on the negative half of the emotional scale does not have clarity, because their thoughts are clouded by worry, anxiety, doubt, anger, and all sorts of other negative emotions. You can only have clarity, and therefore you can only have intuition when you're in the top half of the emotional scale, because intuition is being able to see. What is intuition? It is the ability to see things the way source sees them. And when source sees other people, source knows where you're going and source knows where they're going based on their energy. So anyone can be intuitive. All you have to do is to go up the emotional scale. Number 3, light workers often feel different from everyone else around them. They feel different from their family members. They feel different from their friends. They just feel different. They have a different perspective. And the reason light workers, Stella agrees, the reason light workers have a different perspective than other people is because light workers have not lost the guidance that they were born with. They still remember who they truly are. They still remember their guidance. They are less likely to believe what other people are telling them. They don't always agree with what mom and dad are saying, or teachers are saying, or friends are saying. They don't agree. And that is a very good thing, because what that means is that they are in tune with the guidance system that they were born with. They haven't forgotten their own guidance. And that sets them apart. They are considered black sheep in their families, very much like I was, because their perspective, their opinion, their reaction towards things is so different from the reaction of other people. And so where Abraham comes in is, Abraham says, every child that is born in the cradle, even in the womb, they have a choice. They have a choice. They can become sponges or they can become ducks. And that is the terminology that I use in my programs to indicate. A sponge is someone who absorbs everything and keeps it inside and doesn't let it go. Whereas a duck is a person who, whatever comes at them, they don't absorb it, they just let it slide off their wings. Now, with respect to light workers, healers, teachers, people like that, people like me, I think people like you as well, the thing with light workers is that they are often, not often, they are always initially sponges. They are sponges, but they know that they don't feel good being sponges. They don't just accept things. They keep questioning, even though they go along with it, but they are internally still questioning. As a result of their questioning, they often create massive contrast in their lives. Massive, huge, big contrast is created in their lives. It is their own doing because it happens, it comes about because of their way of thinking. They keep doing something that they are not comfortable doing, but they do it anyway. And that is, they keep questioning. And when you know that when you're questioning, you are expanding the negative side of the equation, because in questioning, there is lack of trust. When the contrast shakes up the life of a light worker, they certainly have this aha moment where things click into place. And now they start understanding why it was that they were questioning things that were happening to themselves and people around them. And now they use that information to completely change their lives. And as a result, they end up becoming healers and teachers, because when people see how quickly they have changed their lives and how amazing they are making their lives out to be, people come to them for advice. People want help from them. And that's another category, another characteristic of a light worker, is that people come to them for advice. But let's go back to Abraham's work. And so from Abraham's perspective, everyone has that choice. And anyone can make that choice at any point in time in their life. You can convert yourself from being a sponge to being a duck at any point in time. And so what is a duck? And what is a sponge? Let's go a little deeper into it. A duck is a person who lets everything fall off their wings, their feathers, which means that they are able to maintain their place high on the emotional scale, regardless of what anyone else is doing. That's a very good thing. A sponge is a person who absorbs criticism, who absorbs hurtful comments, who thinks too much between the lines and judges other people for their judgments and their opinions and their way of thinking, and absorbs it and does not let it go. So a sponge cannot rise up the emotional scale, and because rising up the emotional scale is a key element in becoming a healer and a teacher, alignment is a key attribute of a healer and a teacher. So you see, in order to be a light worker, you have to find your alignment. You have to go high up on the emotional scale. And if you are a sponge, you have to become a duck. So ask yourself this question: are you a sponge or a duck? And based on that, anyone can go up the emotional scale and stay there. Anyone can be a healer. Anyone can be a teacher. And in fact, according to Abraham, we all teach from the power of our experience. And therefore, as far as Abraham's teachings are concerned, everyone is a light worker at some stage of development or another. All right, so let's keep moving. The next attribute I told you already of a light worker is that they are able to give advice. And people come to them from advice. Now, why would someone come to you for advice? People turn to only those people who are aligned for advice. Why do people at all stages of the emotional scale, people turned to Esther Hicks, to Abraham for advice? Because they know that they will get an answer that will help them. And so the more aligned you are, the more clarity you can offer in your advice, and the more people will gravitate towards you, because people like to gravitate towards those of us who are aligned rather than those who are not aligned. All right, so number 5, the ability to forgive. That is one of the signs of being a light worker, is that you have the ability to forgive. And as far as the teachings of Abraham are concerned, everyone should forgive. There is nothing that we should carry forward into our future. If anything feels like a burden, if anything feels like it's heavy on us, we've got to do the work to let it go. And so light workers don't hold on to things. They learn to be forgiving, even if they are not initially that way. They learn to let go. They learn not only to forgive, but also to forget. So ask yourself, are you someone who finds it easy to let go, to forgive, and as well to forget? A lot of times people will say, oh, I can forgive, but I can never forget. But I know, based on my knowledge of Abraham's teachings, that if you cannot forget, then you are remembering. And if you are remembering, then you are focusing. And if you are focusing, then you are expanding. And if you're expanding it, then that is something negative that you're expanding. And it is not helpful because you're not leaving it behind. You're bringing it forward into the future. And so as far as Abraham is concerned, everyone should have the ability to forgive as well as to forget. And guess what? That ability comes to us from being high on the emotional scale. The higher we are on the emotional scale, the easier it is for us to both forgive and forget. Number 6, attribute talked about generally, if you do the research that I did based on Ruchi's question. Number 5 is the ability to receive guidance from source and connect with your spirit guides. So one of the signs of being a light worker is that you have the ability to receive guidance and connect with spirit guides. Any guess as to where you have that ability from? Yes, you guessed it. You only have that ability from the very highest levels of being on the emotional scale. Because here's the thing. Abraham explains to us that there are thought forms at all levels of the emotional scale. There are rivers of energy at every level of the emotional scale because emotions and thoughts band together with other similar emotions and thoughts. And so people can be tapping into energy forms anywhere on the emotional scale. The trick to knowing whether or not you are tapping into source and into your inner being and that you are up here is that when you tap into that energy form, it will always come from a place of love towards you as well as to other people. Source will never ask you, never request anything that hurts anyone else. Your inner being will never ask you to take any action that is unkind towards anyone else. And so, again, it's alignment, 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 alignment. As Abraham says, the only work we have to do is to go up the emotional scale and find our alignment. All right, the next one, number 7, is that light workers have the ability to help others heal emotionally. And what I want to say to you based on my knowledge of the teachings of Abraham is that Abraham often tells us this: one who is aligned is more powerful than many who are not. And that when we are aligned, we have power of influence. So yes, of course, if you are aligned, if you are at the top of the emotional scale, you have powerful power of influence. You have huge power of influence. And one aligned person has the ability to change things completely. One aligned person, it was one aligned person that parted the rivers. It was one aligned person that moved mountains. It was one aligned person that brought people back from the dead. One aligned person can work miracles because they are one with source, and from their place of being one with source, when they look at another individual, they look at that person through the eyes of source, through the eyes of love, and love is the only thing that anyone needs in order to heal. When you heal others, you are expressing love to them. And your love becomes the thing they need, the support they need in order to allow their own well-being, because their well-being is there. They have huge asking for it. And Source is answering their well-being in a huge way. They're just not allowing it in. When you, as a healer, as a light worker, hold their hands and make them feel that supported, that loved, now they can let it in. And so, yes, anyone who is aligned can do that. And therefore, anyone who is aligned is and can be a light worker. Number 8, it is said about light workers that they are wise beyond their years. And from the Abraham perspective, I can tell you that age has nothing to do with wisdom. Age has nothing to do with wisdom. Children are wise because their connection with Source is pure. And wisdom comes through connection with Source. The more aligned you are, the wiser you are. And so if you seem like you are wiser beyond your years, it's because you can think past all the crap that other people are filling their heads with, because you're more aligned. And that's it. All right. And now we come to number 8, which is the big one. Light workers are focused on becoming the best version of themselves. That is one of the reasons why they attract massive contrast into their lives. They have taken up the challenge of getting past and becoming unconditional. Unconditional love. They know intuitively that they need to do the things that will take them high on the emotional scale. And so, as far as the teachings of Abraham are concerned, that's the life purpose of everyone. For everyone born on planet Earth, according to Abraham, the life purpose is the same. It's freedom, growth, and joy. Freedom, growth, and joy. And so we are all reaching for freedom. Growth, as Abraham says, is inevitable. So growth is going to happen because contrast is going to happen. And contrast forces the growth. You are forced to deal with the contrast. You have a choice. You can deal with it and close the gap and expand and become bigger and go up the emotional scale. Or you can go down the emotional scale and not be able to close the gap. And that is the difference that sets apart those of us who are light workers. So, as Abraham says, freedom, growth, and joy is everyone's life purpose. It is your life purpose, my life purpose. It is the life purpose of everyone out there, because no one wants to be imprisoned and everyone wants their freedom. And everything that anyone ever wants is because they want joy. So we all have the same life purpose and we are all light workers. I want to add there about inner child work and shadow work. Working on negative beliefs and letting them go is part of our ability to go up the emotional scale. It is part of that journey. And so that inner child work and shadow work, as it is called, it's just terminology, but basically all it is about is letting go of the negative beliefs and allowing yourself to rise to a place high on the emotional scale. All right, next. I've lost my count. I think that was number 8. Number 9. Ability to heal ancestral karma. Okay, so that's another one. It is said that light workers have the ability to heal ancestral karma. Well, here's the thing. From an Abraham perspective, there is no such thing as karma that is carried forward from one life to another life. Whatever you did in a past life does not come to haunt you in another life. You leave it behind. But here's the thing about this. Light workers are forward focused. They don't let any past hurts, any past pain, whether you want to call it ancestral or not, doesn't matter. They don't let the past haunt their present or their future. That's what sets them apart. They are forward thinking, they are forward feeling, they are forward focused. And Abraham has taught us that there is no good excuse for any one of us, not just light workers. There is no good excuse for any one of us to look backwards. We should all be forward focused. And karma, as Abraham describes it, is just that positive energy that you set out in your life will come back to you. And if you set out negative energy, then that will come back to you as well, because those energies have magnetic power and they will attract corresponding people, places, and events into your life. So the ability to heal ancestral karma, everyone has it, because everyone has the ability to be forward focused. Everyone has the ability to be forward thinking. Everybody has the ability to be forward feeling. All right. The next one, number 11, is that light workers have this huge desire to help humanity, nature, and the planet. And what I want to say to you about that from an Abraham perspective is that anyone who is at the top of the emotional scale is a lover. Anyone who is at the top of the emotional scale is unconditionally in love with themselves, in love with all of humanity, in love with every bird, every tree, every insect, because you become unconditional and you live your life from a place of love. And so, yes, it's alignment. Alignment, alignment, alignment. Our only work is to find alignment. And that work is not limited to being a light worker. That is the work we are all supposed to be doing. And it is just that when you become so unconditional that you are at the top of the emotional scale and you truly care about the planet and everyone on it, every living thing and non-living thing on it, means that you have attained a level of being unconditional. And the key to understanding that is that someone who is unconditional never pushes back. Someone who is unconditional always comes from a place of love, which means that they never do anything that is unkind to themselves or anyone else. They don't push back against anything or anyone. And so those groups who are so-called for humanity or for the planet, but they are pushing back, well, they're not unconditional. They're not loving towards all living things, because they are actually not loving towards some groups of people that they think don't have the same opinion as them, or they think that these other people are hurting the environment. Well, someone who is aligned does not think that way, because someone who is aligned understands that they have power of influence. Someone who is aligned understands that they create their own reality and they have an influence on what happens on planet Earth. They create from and through the power of love, not pushing back. All right. Last one is that light workers are powerful manifestors because they are transmutators of energy. They know how to transmutate energy. My friends, in all the years, and you know how much I love Abraham, all the work that I do is based on the teachings of Abraham. I have the same answers as Abraham because I have my direct access to Abraham. I will tell you that Abraham tells us that becoming a powerful manifester is not just in the realm of light workers. Becoming a powerful manifester is in the realm of all of us. We are all supposed to be powerful manifestors. And the only reason if we are not powerful manifestors is because we have negative beliefs, we have resistance that we have put on our path. Anyone. We are all transmutators of energy because we are all manifestors. And at every minute of every day, we are manifesting something. And we are in that process of manifesting, converting energy into a thing that we can touch, smell, feel. And so each one of us is transmutating energy all the time. Being a positive manifester is different. Being a powerful and positive manifester, meaning manifesting the things that you want, is a function of your level of alignment. Because you're creating, you are manifesting from all levels of the emotional scale. But from the lower part of the emotional scale, you are manifesting mostly those things that you do not want. It's only from being high on the emotional scale that you can manifest the things that you want. And listen, anyone can do that. You, me, your neighbor, my neighbor, anyone can do that. And so, folks, in the end, what I have to say to you is there is no special category of people called light workers. Everyone is a light worker because everyone is reaching for the light. Everyone wants to go up the emotional scale where the light is. And there are people who are born into this earth plane and they stay there. They keep their place high on the emotional scale and never come down. And there are people who have massive contrast, and as a result of the massive contrast, they get to that place. It doesn't matter. That place is called alignment. It's not the purview of light workers. It's for everyone. You, me, everyone. And so that's all I want to say on the subject of light workers, and I want to advise you not to get hung up on this. This is not important. The only thing that is important for all of us is to do the work that will take us high on the emotional scale, right to the top, a place of unconditional love, a place of complete alignment, and staying there. That's the key. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this discussion is helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.